Well, hello and welcome to Bold Women Lawyers Spotlight interview. After a lot of obstacles, we are here today with 𝗀𝗻 Nichols of 𝗀𝗃 Strategies. 𝗀𝗻 is going to talk to us about all things social media and how you can use social media to market your law firm. So 𝗀𝗻, welcome. It's great to have you here. And, you know, we're so resilient. We were able to overcome all of the technological obstacles that we ran into. So welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here with sound. I'm very happy about that. That's a big plus.
Yeah. I do want everyone to hear you. Yes.
Yes.
So 𝗀𝗻,
I was going to say thank you for having me, first of all. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. I've known you, I guess maybe for about a year now, since I got on Clubhouse and got involved in a Clubhouse room that you're in most of the time. So I'm really excited to have you here today. I'm going to ask you if you would just tell us a little bit about yourself and your company, 𝗀𝗃 Strategies.
Sure, thanks. Yeah, it's so funny because I love how the Clubhouse connections are just kind of filtering into our everyday world. So yeah, very interesting. So yes, hi everyone. I'm 𝗀𝗻 Nichols. I'm the founder and CEO of 𝗀𝗃 Strategies. It is a social media marketing company. I specialize in helping women business owners over the age of 45 or 50 learn to use social media to get clients through their doors easily. I'm doing it for 12 years this summer. Started it on a total fluke, and what I think I love most about it is social media is always changing. So I'm always learning and always stumbling across these weird things that happen that nobody else would ever hear about. And so it's been a lot of fun. We like to, at 𝗀𝗃, I have a team that works with me. We like to focus on people who want to build communities rather than just sell, sell, sell. So I'm all focused on the relationship building and community building of social media rather than the straight up sales aspect. Although sales are important and that's what we're leading into, the focus really is building the community and strengthening your relationships through social media. So that is me and what I do in a nutshell. I work with businesses, small to medium sized. I do, anything from content creation, social media management to strategy development. So all kinds of fun stuff are going on.
So first of all, I know you focus on women over the age of 45, but you do work with younger women, right? So if we have listeners, you know, law firm owners in their 30s and earlier 40s, you certainly work with them too, right?
I do. I think the commonality is that the women I work with and I work with men also. I work with small companies, people who just don't get social media. And that's the thing. So I'm saying women over 45 or 50 because that was me when I started. And they understand how hard it is to embrace these platforms that just don't make any sense that we didn't grow up with. But yeah, we do work with business owners of all ages. So yes.
So you mentioned, you know, it's about building relationships and community. And I'm 100% in agreement with you on that. And just like, you know, in other service industries for lawyers, you need to, you know, the selling aspect is something that we have ethical rules we have to follow. We have, you know, Bar Association guidelines, et cetera. So when you're talking about sales, I really agree with what you said. You're really talking about how to build the relationship in the community. So tell us a little bit about, just in general, how you can use social media to do that.
Yeah, and you know, you raise good points because you have an industry similar to finance where you have a lot of restrictions on what you can do. So the challenge is, how do you use social media to build a community, to get business in the door if you're very limited on what you can do? And I think a lot of it comes back to what you're doing, Sharon, which is getting personal on social media and letting people see your life. So one of the things that you can do are let people have a glimpse into your life, let people know who you are and what it would be like to work with you. And I think that in the absence of being able to give advice, you know, you can share stats, you can share facts, you can share information, but really it's people are buying you, not what you sell. So they have to be comfortable with you, especially as an attorney. They want to know that you're going to work so hard on their behalf, that you're going to do the best you can for them, and that you're easy to work with. And so getting those things across by bringing them into your life and what your life is like, I think often works. You know, they don't want an attorney who's scattered. So somebody who's always, you know, just going everywhere and doing things that might not be the best representation if your clients don't want that of you. So you do have to think about how you're coming across on social media, but it is all about, authenticity and personality and connecting.
So it's interesting you say that, because I think that for a lot of lawyers, and certainly for me in the beginning, when I was practicing law, I really was resistant to social media, which at the time, the big deal was YouTube. I was really resistant to it because I personally didn't like it. But I couldn't, I was like, what am I going to say that people will listen to? Until I realized for myself that that's where a lot of my potential clients were at the time. They were on YouTube and they were looking for information about, I did disability law. They were looking for information about it. So that's how I got started with it. But when you talk about being personal, can you, well, I know recently I did a post in a ball gown because we're going to the Baltimore County prom. It's actually next week. And I'm not really wearing that dress, but nonetheless, it was to make the point, like, here I am in my ball gown and here comes the prom. It's all about networking. And I was talking about networking, but I think there's some degree of hesitancy too, among certainly the women lawyers I talk to, that, how much do I talk about myself that's not related to what I do as a lawyer? Can you address that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. I do want to ask Sharon, how did that post perform with you in the ball gown?
Incredibly well.
I know.
Incredibly well.
See, I know,
yes.
Right? Because you, you showed you, right? Yeah, exactly. And that's the big point. So there's a couple of things there. First of all, I do believe for your social media content, you want to have content pillars and you want to stick to them. So it's important to have 3 to 5 content pillars that are really the mainstay of what you post on social media. Now, your personal behind the scenes could be one of those content pillars. It's up to you. I also think that for all of us on social media, we have to figure out how much we're comfortable sharing and share up to that point personally. But know that people do want to get invested in you. So, for a great example, Sharon the ball gown outperformed most of her other posts because it was very personal and that resonated with people. So for me, for example, I'll post a lot about my dogs and me personally, my networking, but I don't post much about my son. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you see that there are very rare posts. I just, we had agreed that I wouldn't put him much on social media, so I have to get his approval. And I think for Mother's Day, he said I didn't get approval, but I said it's Mother's Day, so I get this. This is a freebie for me.
Right.
So, yeah, right. So
on Mother's Day,
yeah. So you have to figure out what you're comfortable sharing and share up to that point. And then I also feel like for stuff that doesn't belong with your pillars, like Sharon, you turned that picture of you into a post about networking, which was beautifully and masterfully done, right?
Oh, thank you.
But
thank you.
no, that was a great way to do it. So for me, a lot of my personal stuff, I'll put it into my stories because I don't feel like it belongs on my main feed, but I feel like that stories are a place where people are already invested in you because they follow you. So the people who follow you are going to see your stories. So they really want to know more about you. And so you put that in your stories. But I'll talk about my gardening. I'll talk about my dogs a lot. Sometimes I'll talk about my friends because they're close to me, but I do all of that on stories. And sometimes, like if there's a girlfriend's day, I'll put a picture of myself with my girlfriends on my main feed and talk about the importance of friendship. At networking events, I'll take a lot of pictures and talk about networking importance. So you've got to figure out how to get yourself in front of the camera to get personal, and then whether you turn that into posts or put it into stories. But I also don't think everything you do belongs on your main feed either, because I think you need to keep that your messaging has to be clear on that. So people need to know what you do and how they hire you and how you can help them, rather than just, they don't need to know about my gardening on, on my main feed. So I can put that in my stories.
Can you explain a little bit the difference between posts and stories? Because, for us lawyers, like, we're just working on cases and engagements and drafting documents and meeting with clients and that kind of stuff. And a lot of us don't know those terms. So
and I'm sorry, I always jump to everybody knows this. So Facebook and Instagram are 2 platforms that have stories. And what stories are quick, either video snippets or graphics. They stay up for, is it 6 to 10 seconds? If it's a graphic, it's up to 15 seconds if it's a video, and they stay up for 24 hours. They're not on your main feed. You actually have to click on in your Instagram feed and Facebook feed, there's you have your profile picture with a circle around it. You click on there. They're designed to be fleeting. They're 24 hours only. So you put them there, and unless they don't get saved unless you have them move them into highlights. So for example, I might like having a highlight, which is one of the in your Instagram account, it's underneath your profile and it's things that last forever. So you might decide to make highlights of behind the scenes and put something in your stories and then move it into highlights if you want it to last more than 24 hours. But the only people who see stories for the most part are the people who follow you. When you have an active story, which is within 24 hours, the round thing, the lining around the story lights up and people can see you have a story. And so it's just, people are using them as a way to be very informal or have limited time offerings too. If you have an offer that's up for 24 hours, it's a great place to put it. The cool thing about stories is they have links available. That doesn't happen on your main feed unless you're over 10,000 followers. So if you have an offer, you can put it in the story.
Let me stop you there though. 10,000 followers. Which platform are you talking about?
Instagram.
Okay.
Sorry, Instagram. Yeah, Facebook, you can put links on anything. For Instagram, if you have 10,000 followers, you can put links in your feed, in your captions. If you do not have 10,000 followers, you cannot put links in your Instagram caption. Don't do it just because you want people to get your link. It looks spammy. Some people say, well, click here to get my offer. Don't do that. It looks ridiculous. No one's going to copy and paste it. What you can do is put it, say, check it out in the link in my bio, and then have a link in your bio where people can click on to go to see that.
Now, for lawyers, mostly we don't have offers in the way that you see other industries do. But we do have the need to get basic information out so that a potential client who is looking for, say, a lawyer that does wills and estates and trusts and that kind of thing, but doesn't know where to start, really doesn't know much about it, can get some of the basic information. So where would that, when you talked about posts versus stories, that wouldn't be a story. Would that be a post?
That would be, and that could also be a lead magnet. I am a huge fan of looking at your sales funnels and seeing where they lead. So if you're just trying to qualify people, having something that's a downloadable PDF, the top 5 things you need to know about creating a will, what do you need to know about power of attorney, anything that your target market would like, you can do something called a lead magnet where somebody clicks on a link, they put their email address in, and in return for that, they get the lead magnet, and then you move them onto your email list. So those are great for that, but also you can use your main feed. You can make graphics and say, do a carousel post, which is several different graphics in one post. The beauty of carousel posts, it's where, let's say I have the top 5 things that you need to know about making a will. So graphic 1 is the top 5 things you need to know about making a will. Graphic 2 is the number 1 thing. Graphic 3 is the number 2 thing. The cool thing about those, you can put them all on one Instagram post. And the cool thing is that they perform better because when someone scrolls through their feed once, they'll see the first one. When they scroll through a second time, they'll see the second. You actually get multiple views on it. So they're a really beautiful way to get the word out, and then people tend to slide through them. Facebook doesn't have something like that. They put all of the pictures together, but you can also do that with them too. So I know Facebook and Instagram, for the most part, I'm talking about Instagram because it's the one a lot of people are really focused on lately, but Facebook is also useful too. So, and Facebook has stories. I'm not sure if they have clickable links in stories. I haven't done a lot with Facebook stories. So yeah.
So a lot of lawyers use LinkedIn. Now I know some of the logistics of LinkedIn are different, but in terms of being able to post information, we're really talking about the same thing, right?
Yeah, and LinkedIn lets you have links. So you can, I would probably with LinkedIn do a nice graphic and then in the body of the post, put the information that you want people to get to. And you can always say, for more information, visit my website. And here's a link to my website. You can put your lead magnet and say, click here if you want to download the top 5 tips of something. So yeah, LinkedIn, it's similar content. It tends to be a little more, I think, link heavy than the other ones do, but yeah, you can do the same thing on LinkedIn. And as you see videos booming on LinkedIn, Sharon,
Yeah.
you and your lives are a great example of that. So people are doing informal video on LinkedIn, where we used to think that LinkedIn had to be super formal and really slick and well produced, but now people are just popping on, giving tips, giving advice, being more informal with it. And you can do shorter videos on LinkedIn. So it's all, I don't want to say all the social channels are kind of morphing together, but people are reusing content in a way that makes them less distinctive.
Well, let's talk about that, because a question I hear a lot is, from women lawyers is, somebody said I should be on TikTok. Somebody told me I should be on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on, name the platform, on YouTube. It doesn't matter. Somebody told me, I should be there. Should I do it? So, how do I decide? I'm a lawyer. I own a small law firm. I understand social media is big and I need to, be in there. But how do I decide which one to do, or should I be on all of them?
Yeah, so that drives me nuts, where people come through and say, I have to be on everything. I need to be on TikTok because that's where everybody is. I need to be on Instagram. I need to be on this. We don't have time. I get it. We're business owners, right? We don't have teams of people to do this. We don't have the bandwidth. I am so bad at keeping up with my platforms. It's ridiculous. And I do this for a living. My clients are great, me not so much. So I always tell people starting out, pick one or two platforms that you think where your target market is most frequently, right? Get really good at those two. And once they're in the groove and you got it, then add another platform. So it might be LinkedIn for you. A lot of people discount Facebook, but honestly, it's still the biggest platform by far. And people check you out on Facebook too. That's a great place where people go to check you out. So I usually put clients on Facebook and LinkedIn, or Facebook and Instagram. We start there. And then if we need to add other platforms, we can. But don't feel you need to do everything. You're not losing business and appreciable about if you're not on TikTok. Don't worry about it. Okay. Just do not worry about it. It's not going to kill you not to be on TikTok.
But you made a good point. It's you need to be where your clients are. So if you're a lawyer and your clients are mostly, 20 somethings,
Yes.
and maybe you absolutely do need to be on TikTok as opposed to Facebook if the 20 somethings are on TikTok and not Facebook. I
Exactly.
know I've
Or,
had that. Yeah.
Instagram might be female centered. So if you work with women going through divorces, you probably want to be on Instagram, not necessarily LinkedIn, which tends to be more male centric. Yeah. And if you're doing, you're an attorney who works with DUIs, get on TikTok. You should absolutely be on TikTok. That's a great place for you to be. So yeah, you need to do some market research and know where your clients are hanging out online, and then get on that platform and rock the heck out of that one, and then add the others as you think you will. But it's not killing you to skip the platforms where they're not. It sounds fun. Yeah, I can't want to go on TikTok. Everybody's on there. Gary Vee did so great on TikTok. Who cares?
Right.
I don't care.
Right. Exactly.
And to be honest with you, I don't have any TikTok clients on TikTok currently. We focus on Instagram. I'm adding one where we're going to move into TikTok because it actually does make sense for her to do it. But
Yeah.
I will not gratuitously put people on there. It just doesn't, as a business, think about your business. Does it even make sense? And so there's that piece of it too.
Exactly.
I will tell you guys one tip though. Everybody sleeps on Google My Business. And if you are looking to get website visits, even as a service provider, you can have a Google My Business page, post on there once or twice a week. It's content, it's a caption, it's a graphic, and you can have a button that says learn more. Our website visits on one of my clients who was an actual destination place went from, I don't know, like 100 a month to 80,000 a month. I mean, it's crazy over the course of 6 months how well it works. So get on Google My Business. I got everybody that works with me goes on there. It's amazing. Really just updating once or twice a week. It's super easy, great content. And oh my God, your website, if you're looking to increase your website visits, that's the way to do it. Plus, if you post a decent amount, you get a lot more reviews, which really helps your SEO. So it's beautiful for that, and nobody's getting on it. So I kind of just throw that in. I'm like, we're going on Google My Business. That's it. No questions asked.
Great tip.
So,
That's a great tip. So the next thing, once we sort of get over, okay, let's figure out, you got to figure out where your ideal clients are as a lawyer, and you figure that out. Then the next thing I hear is, you know what? I don't know where to start. I don't have time for this. This is all great. I know I need to do it, but I can't, and I have no interest honestly, in learning all of the technical side that I would need to learn to be able to, put all these posts up, etc. So what do you do?
You can do a couple of things. So I always love starting out with some long range planning, and I like to develop a 6-month content calendar for people because that really meshes what you're offering at certain times with what's going on seasonally and doing it that way. But if you truly don't have time, you can hire out too. So you can either, if you don't want to do social media and you are not going to do it, I would definitely recommend hiring out, and you can go a couple of different ways with that. If you feel like you want to learn it yourself, start slow. You don't have to post 5 to 7 days a week. You have to be consistent though. I'd say the minimum for Instagram is probably 2 to 3 times a week. LinkedIn, you can probably do 1 to 2 times a week. Same thing with Facebook. We're not even going to talk about Twitter, so let's just skip that. So yeah, so start slow and don't make yourself crazy. But if you spend the time to develop your content pillars, figure out what you're going to post about. I actually have a whole system to create content that takes a little bit, but oh my gosh, it's easy once you do it. And long range planning to develop a 6-month calendar so that I know, let's say for April and May, I've got to talk about engagement because I've got a workshop coming up that talks about engagement. So that's going to be my content for that month. So doing things like that. So that way, but if you want to hire out, like there's a couple of different ways you can go. And I don't know if you want to dig into that or if you want to.
Yeah, I do in a minute. Yeah, I want to talk about that in a minute. But I wanted to get back to the whole idea of, I think, and I'll be honest, I think for most lawyers, there are some that are really techie focused and really do want to learn like all of the ins and outs of these platforms that they're going to use and do it themselves. But by and large, for most, at least most of the lawyers I work with, they have no interest in actually doing the mechanics of the posting. But they have, some concerns about what it needs to be in my own voice. And one of the things that I recommend for that certainly is you create the content. You don't have to put it up, right? So you can, as you were talking about, with your clients, you work on, let's do a content calendar, which I have done your workshops and I've worked with you and I've done that. And it makes a huge difference because when you have on your calendar the time, like, okay, I got to create content, this week's content today. And you start to rack your brain for what am I going to talk about today? You just go to this calendar you've created and you've already decided what you're going to talk about. But I just want people to understand that, don't be stopped by the fact that you don't know how to actually do the posts and the mechanics of it, and you don't want to learn because there's people out there like you, Lisa, that can help with that. So can you talk a little bit about that?
I can. I wanted to go back to something. I keep losing this thought in my head, right?
Sure.
But what I think the thing that's cool about social media is that there are so many ways to get across your message. So pick the way you like. For example, Instagram, you can do quick videos, you can do longer videos, you can go live, you can do static posts, which are just graphics. So if you're not in love with writing, talk to the camera and do that every time. And, either in video or live. Like for me, I think it's okay to create content, but I get kind of bored with it. So I actually like going live. And so at least once or twice a week, I will have somebody come live with me, or I'll just give a tip on Instagram live and that'll be my post, right? And the other thing is, if you're really stuck with this and you like to write, create a blog, 300 to 500 words. You can A, put it on your website, B, put it on LinkedIn, and then repurpose it for all your platforms. Where you take one idea out of it and put that with a graphic for Instagram and Facebook one day, and then include the entire blog another day. So blogs are a great way to start writing and get content. And like, if someone has a blog, I'm like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever, because I can take pieces of the blog and put a neat graphic with it and just use that as content. And then it's in your own words too, so that's the bonus of that.
Exactly. So if I write 300 to 500 words, which actually is not that long, I think for most lawyers, one of the problems that I've encountered is cutting back on how much I'm saying, because we like to talk, or we like to write in detail. So 300 to 500 words is not much. And then you can send it to somebody like you or somebody who does social media work. And then you're the one that's responsible for repurposing and getting it posted and doing the graphics and all of that. Because I think that for a lot of lawyers, they go, whoa, I just don't have time for this. But you can delegate that part. And still, as you said, you keep it in your own voice because you've done the initial, whether it's shoot a video or write a blog, you've done that. And then someone who does social media like you can take it and run with it. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And, and then if you have a good website, we can take information from your website. So that's another great area too. If your website's just, trifling and hardly has anything on, it's harder. But if you've got a really good, robust website, super easy to take information from that. And then if you have resources where you're like, oh, these are great for statistics, we can go there and get that. So it all ends up looking like it's your words where you have people, somebody else do it for you. But the blog is a beautiful way to start. I love when people blog. That's so, so helpful for all of us. And it's great on so many levels. Like you can post it as a LinkedIn article. There's so many things you can do with it. It's fantastic. So yeah.
The other thing that people can do that's a time saver is you can speak it and then get it transcribed.
Yep.
And that's a huge time saver.
Yeah, that one's good too. There's a bunch of different programs to do that. So if you're more verbal and don't like to write, just use your phone, do a transcription service. I know my virtual assistant does that too. So she loves doing that, and that works really well for her to do that. I tend to just write stuff down, so I'm okay with that. I don't know. I think off the top of my head, it just doesn't make sense. So I actually like to sit and write it. But yeah, everybody can do whatever works for them. And yeah, so you could even, if you want somebody to work with you and you don't want to take the time to do it, you can just put it in a phone and send it to the person. I actually had one woman, we ended up not working together yet, but she's, I don't remember what she was, but we were talking and she had all these different things. And I said, actually the way I think that would work best would be once a month, you and I sit down, decide which pieces of what you're going to do is content, you talk to me about it, and then I move that into actual content for social. So there's a lot of different ways you can work with somebody to make it work for you. It doesn't have to be just one way.
Yeah, I've done that with, I've been the person that's been interviewed. I've had somebody interview me and then take, get that transcribed and then break it down from there. That was super easy.
I know, right? That's
all I had to do was, answer the questions and talk. That was super easy. So
my blogger, I was going to say, we might do that with my blogger for one of our new clients. They're talking about having her talk to the members and just taking that and turning it into a blog for them to use. So yeah, you can be creative in what you want to do. So all different ways to do it.
That's great. And really the point, and hopefully everybody's gotten it by now. The point is, this does not have to be hard, but in 2022, it needs to get done because this is. And for lawyers who have small law firms, which are the people that I work with, it's how you get the playing field leveled, because the resources that it takes me to write a blog or shoot a video on Zoom or be interviewed is not going to break the bank. And yet it puts me on the same playing field as all the bigger law firms because they're doing the same thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. And I think anybody who's using social media really has a leg up too. And you do such a great job. Like, I love seeing everything you're doing on social media. You're fabulous. And so you guys watch what Sharon's doing. She can help you get better at this.
and as I said, when I first started, when I had my disability law firm, I just was kicking and screaming going into it because I didn't like it and I didn't want to do it. But when the light bulb finally went off and I said, wait a minute, at the time, my ideal clients are using YouTube. I need to be there, and just jumped in and started doing it. It got easier and easier and easier. Every time, I was shooting videos, which was a couple times a week. And as I've said to the other women lawyers I know and that I work with, you don't need to have hair and makeup done. You don't. I know you feel that way. Like, I've got to be perfectly coiffed and all the perfect makeup and the right lighting and that's all great and good, but you don't have to do that. In fact, you can't do it because you need to be, if you're doing videos, you need to be doing that multiple videos. And it's just easier to, look good enough.
Yeah, exactly.
And on the camera, right?
Yeah, and that's a good point. If I'm doing a photo shoot, I've got hair and makeup done, but for the most part, and what I think cured me of this was that my coach had challenged me to go live on Instagram every day for 30 days, and on Saturday and Sunday, I am a no makeup girl, and I'm like, you know what, I got to do it. So I got over it. I will make sure I do. I won't have my hair in a ponytail. Like, I'll make sure my hair is doing something, not crazy, and I'll try and have earrings in and try and be dressed halfway decently and do something with makeup, but it's real basic. I got lipstick on, I got earrings on, I'm ready to go. So you need to, and Sharon, you're going to get, I always tell people, they're like, oh, I don't want to go on video, I don't know how I look. Get over yourself and just do it, because everybody is, and we don't care. I get great compliments when I'm not all done with hair and makeup. It's just it's you.
Exactly. And in the selfie world that we live in, every time you take a selfie, you haven't had your hair and makeup done.
Yeah.
I think of it that way. And so people don't expect it, but
they don't.
If you're yeah.
No, no, go ahead. Because I was going to say something that was kind of along those lines.
Well, one of the points that it took me a while to learn, but I finally learned, was if I'm giving good content, my potential clients, like, okay, I see her, but I don't need to look glamorous. What they're interested in is the content that I can give them, the information, the education I can give them.
Yeah. And I will say, you do need to factor in, like, Sharon won't come looking unprofessional, right? Because you're an attorney, you want people to take you seriously. And so you do need to think about the image you're presenting. Because I'm in social media, I usually look decently pulled together when I'm on camera, just because I feel like that's the image I have to project. It's a very young industry. I'm older, so I don't want to look like I'm, running around in a house coat. And who ever says house coat anymore?
I know who says
house coat and slippers, right? So I always try and look decently pulled together when I'm coming on. So you have to figure that out. But yeah, you don't need your hair and makeup done. And I was going to say, the funny thing is, people think as you're like, oh, you're so professional, you look so good, your selfies look good. I must take, swear to God, even now, you guys, I've been doing this for years, I must take easily 10 selfies before I get one I like easily. I'm with the timer, I'm with the lighting, I'm everywhere in my house, I'm using my tripod, I got my ring light. And then my videos, I must shoot, even with, I started using the teleprompter because I can't remember what I'm going to say. Easily 5 times, at least, for every take. Every time I shoot a video, easily doing 5 times, if not more. So it does take a little bit of time.
That's funny.
But
That's funny. Yeah.
to make it look effortless.
I think for a lot of lawyers, at least trial lawyers, it's not that hard, because we're used to having to be on our feet, think on our feet, and give a talk. So I think that part, lawyers that you're listening, I think that part's easier for us. Yeah.
True. I will tell you guys, like, my one tip on all of this, especially if you're trying to come across and present an image, get a good brand photographer who works with you and does some lifestyle or branding photos. That's been a godsend. Having good headshots. And instead of using stock photos, I like using pictures of me. So if I get someone who takes me in 5 to 10 different settings, I can use those for all my programs, because people want to see images of you. In fact, I posted something the other day about my workshop coming in. It's like, it uses the word secrets, and I didn't have a branding photo that said secrets. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this myself. And I went over to my lighting room and put on bright red lipstick and did like kind of a secret pose. And I'm like, okay, that works. so
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, having, spending, investing, and working in good branding photos is an investment that I think pays off. I use my photos so much, and it's just so much better. And people appreciate seeing me in front of a camera rather than, stock photos. And I think you went to Selfie World, didn't you? You have a Selfie World?
I haven't yet. It's coming up. It's coming up.
That's, if you can't do, if you don't want to pay for branding photography, Selfie World's a blast. Like, figure out beforehand how you're going to use the pictures, because part of me was like, I didn't know what poses to do, and Rita came up with all these great ones, and I'm like, I didn't think of that. What's wrong with me?
I never think of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it, and just go spend an hour taking selfies with different backdrops. It'll be fun. Yeah, yeah. But you raise another good point, because for potential clients to take the next step to contact a lawyer, just like in other service-based industries, they need to feel like they know, like, and trust you. And if you're just showing stock photos, they don't know you. They haven't even seen your face. So that's great advice. And there's, brand photographers that do branding, photographers, or just, headshots in different locations.
And a good branding photographer will actually work with you to create scenarios that you can use. So my photographer, Melissa, we have one, because they talk about strategy. We did a couple around that, and with a chess set, like, she's great ideas. And so I'm, just starting to roll these out, and I've been using the other one she did forever. Like, she had me doing one where I had a friend at a photo shoot, and I had on a cape, or she had a cape, and I was, so we were raising hands, and it's like, if you want to be a superhero, just all that theme. So it's a good branding photographer will work with you and get creative ideas on what your audience needs to see and what you need to put out there too. So definitely that's an investment, I think, that's worthwhile and pays off.
Well, terrific. Well, listen, Lisa, this has been wonderful. You've given us some great tips. And if anybody wants to get in touch with you, tell me, would they do that?
So we're on LinkedIn. You guys, Lisa Nichols, you can follow me, 2 L's on LinkedIn. Follow me and reach out to me on LinkedIn. On Instagram, I'm Lisa A. Nichols with 2 L's on Instagram. You can DM me on Instagram. Or my email is lisa@tirosstrategies.com. So it's all very easy. But yeah, just reach out. I'm on Clubhouse. I'm everywhere. I'm pretty visible. So you should be able to find me, and just, drop me a line. I will, what I do is set up coffee chats with people, and I will tell you that even in the coffee chat, even if we're just chatting, chances are you're going to get a couple of pieces of advice just to make your social a little bit better. So I can't turn it off.
It's what you do. It's what you do. Do you have a workshop coming up?
Yeah, I do, Sharon. On May 18th, I'm doing a workshop. It's content that connects, and I'm going to tell you the top 5 things you're doing that prevent people from engaging with you on Instagram or on social, because everybody's like, I need more engagement. I want more engagement. I hear that so many times. And so I'm going to tell you guys that there are at least 5 things you're doing that are preventing people from connecting and engaging with you. And so I'll share those and tell you the right way to do it. So it's an hour. It's on May 18th. So yeah, DM me if you guys want info on that.
Okay. So they would, if somebody was interested, say again how they get in touch with you?
I think they can just message. I don't know if I can drop links in here. Do you know?
I can do it, actually.
Let me see if I can. Okay.
If you can tell me there we go. You put it in the chat. Yeah. And then I can, let me copy that.
Or I can go in, if you don't mind, Sharon, I can send it to you and we can put it up after this post too.
That is fine, but let me get it on here, because we can.
I know for mine, when I do StreamYard, I'm not able to include link. I don't know why. It's so weird. It's me.
I know. No, there we go. Got it.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Got the link up there. Yeah. So that's terrific. And it's May 18th, right?
May 18th in the afternoon. So yeah. It'll be an hour, and it'll be fun. And we're going to whip through the 5 things you're doing. I can guarantee you guys are doing at least a couple of those.
I'm sure.
I'm sure. When I first came on Clubhouse, I was doing Instagram audit rooms nonstop, and everybody would say, "Why am I not getting more engagement?" And it was the same things. People were doing the same thing over and over again. Mm-hmm. So there was no big mystery behind it. If you look at enough accounts, you figure out what the pattern is. So yeah.
Great. Well, I encourage everybody who's interested, get on Lisa's registration page and get to the workshop next week. It'll be great. And Lisa, I really appreciate you coming. It's been great to talk to you. You've given us some wonderful tips. And I hope anybody that needs more help, give Lisa a call.
Sharon, thanks. Keep it up. You're doing a rock star job. You guys, I knew Sharon when she wasn't doing much social media.
Yeah,
so watching, we laugh
true.
because You guys think I don't watch you, right? And I do. I stalk everybody on social. I know what they're doing. I know what you're doing. I'm keeping up with
Yes.
you. So Sharon was doing none of this, and all of a sudden she's just like, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm here. I'm there. I'm everywhere. So you're doing a great job with it. I love
I
that
took
you're
the advice.
forging the paths for female lawyers
Exactly.
everywhere.
Exactly. All right. Well, listen, thank you. And we've enjoyed it and appreciate the tips, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, guys, for listening. Appreciate it. Thank you, Sharon, for having me. This was fun. Glad we got it in with sound.
Me too. Me too.